All right. Hello and a very, very, very warm welcome to the inaugural edition of the Middle East Market Entry Program Spain, an educational initiative of the Organic and Natural Products Expo Dubai. Session is being held in collaboration with our partners in Spain, BioEcoActual. The Middle East has been at the forefront of the bio/organic and natural revolution in the recent years. With an above average per capita and a high focus towards health, well-being, and lifestyle, the demand for bio, organic, and natural products has risen sharply. More importantly, Middle East presents an array of expansion opportunities due to its strategic location and, of course, its trade-friendly policies. The UAE and Dubai, especially, is fast emerged as a business hub connecting entities from the east, west, leading to a massive scope for re-export as well. Through the session, we're going to explore business opportunities for companies based in Spain with organic and natural products, and how exactly they can enter one of the region's fastest growing markets for organic and natural products. Without further ado, please allow me to introduce you to our panelists for today's webinar. First off, we have Miguel Angel Povedano, who is an independent consultant at Mia Santo Retail and the ex-CCO for Carrefour, Majid Al Futtaim Retail UAE. Miguel currently works as an independent retail consultant. He has previously overseen the development and commercial strategies for Carrefour, one of the largest supermarket chains in the Middle East, with over 375 stores across 17 different countries. For more than 25 years, he has led the growth of the industry at the highest levels of management and structuring the omni-channel culture. He has a proven track record of success in strategic marketing planning to ensure appropriate positioning globally for optimum corporate profitability. Miguel possesses a solid history of encouraging creativity and innovation, developing goals related to performance and growth, and conductive, expansive market assessments to uncover key revenue drivers and vital expansion opportunities. Miguel, it's always a pleasure to have you on board. Thank you so much for taking the time out to joining us for this very special webinar. I'm sure the audience would have a lot to learn from your expertise and from what you have to share in today's session.
Thank you very much. Really, it is my pleasure. And thank you very much for this very long presentation. So that is the consequence that I become pretty old. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel. Next up, we have Lander Mardo, who's the Managing Director of Taste of Spain. After a lifetime in Spain, gaining knowledge about the food industry, founder Lander Mardo moved to the UAE and realized that there was a gap in the market and an opportunity to introduce Spanish products to countries in the Middle East. In 2009, he began his extensive research in finding the best available producers in Spain, and that would be able to deliver high standard Spanish products at a competitive price. Now, close to 13 years later, Taste of Spain has consolidated strong relationships with suppliers across the Spanish region, as well as acquiring extensive knowledge of the best available products. Taste of Spain currently has over 360 products in its portfolio from 100+ Spanish suppliers. Lander, thank you so much for joining in today. I know things have been very busy at your end, as they should be for people like you, but you're no stranger to the Middle East market, and thank you so much for joining in. I know you have a lot of insights to share with us, and you can't wait. So likewise, I'm equally excited to hear from you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for GL Exhibitions to organize this webinar, and obviously thank you to the panelists for sharing this time with us.
Awesome, thanks. Next up, we have Ibrahim Rest, who is the research analyst Euromonitor. Ibrahim holds 6 years of experience in the consumer insights field with a demonstrated history of working with various clients in the market research industry. He is highly skilled in quantitative research, consumer insights, and market research methodologies and frameworks. Ibrahim works on extremely ambitious research products side by side with his customers. He helps them with market entry strategies, comparative profiling, channel analysis, product innovation, forecasting, among several other business initiatives. Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. A personal thanks for Euromonitor and yourself for always joining us and sharing those key industry figures and stats. It's always good to hear where the industry is headed. And I'd like to thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for the introduction, and it's my pleasure to be here. Yeah,
thank you, Ibrahim.
Thank you.
Last but not the least, we have Oriol, who's the co-editor at BioEco Actual Spain. Oriol is a political scientist specialized in organic food with over 10 years of experience in the organic business. He's currently the co-editor BioEco Actual, Master Organic, Bueno Vegano, and El Botiquín Natural. Oriol looks at the future with optimism and the hope that a green vision is possible. He's committed to solving challenges as a society and as individuals. Oriol, firstly, thank you so much for your support to helping us put this webinar together. And thank you so much for joining in. It's very nice to have you here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna if you'd like to go ahead and say a few words before we really get into the session, I'd like to welcome you and ask you to go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sura, and thank you all the panelists, Miguel Angel, Ibrahim, and Lander, and also thank you to the people who has registered to the webinar. I really think it will be very useful. Very useful tools will be released and also interesting data. And I invite you, all of you, os invito a todos a ir a Dubai to visit Dubai in December to the Natural and Organic Products Expo in Dubai, which is the most important event for the natural and organic industry in the region. Yeah, so thank you, everyone, and I look forward to this very inspiring session. Afterwards, any doubts on the organization, you can be in contact for sure with Suraj, but also you can be in touch with us, and we will be happy to assist you with any queries.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Oriol, for those opening lines. Miguel, I think I'm not going to keep the audience waiting. I'm sure all of them are very, very eager to hear from you. I'd like to start off with the first question, Miguel. What sort of demand do you think there is for Spanish organic products in the UAE and beyond? And what categories or types of products do you think are in huge demand in particular?
So it's a very interesting question. The first thing for me is like my recommendation to all our Spanish colleagues and the people that is in the panel today. It's like before to go, you need to really well understand what is the assortment portfolio that you have, what is the value proposal and differentiation. And with people as Lander that is helping to the Spanish supplier to go, listen carefully. What is the kind of market that you will find? What is the situation? What is the complexity? For really to understand your advantage versus the complexity. So I was working in the Middle East market for more than 10 years, as you mentioned before. I was driving the Majid Al Futtaim, all the operation and merchandise strategy in all the 17 countries that we are present. So the first thing that you need to think in when you analyze your assortment portfolio is what will be the first country that you want to go. That is extremely important to understand. But I have some good news and some news that will make complicated the way to do the import-export. And I say I know my colleagues, Lander after will speak. But for be concrete, the first thing is like, it's a big opportunity. My experience in all these countries is like you keep in mind, of course, Emirates, I think. Emirates is key priority because it's the more mature and the growth for the bio and organic in all the different areas is very, very, very high. And more than 11% in the last years. And I can tell you in the time of the pandemic, the growth was between 300 to 500% in the different categories. And its place, really, the market is very atomized. It's not a big market share for one supplier than today take all the things. And the Spanish product in this area of the world, in organic and nature, is very well perceived in terms of quality, in terms of innovation, in terms of testing. So it's a lot of things that can create. But however, the market is complicated in my point of view at the level of the regulations. Regulation in the way that how you create your product, how your product will be visible there. And after the second part is the volumetries. What will be your partner? What will be your channel to go to these kind of countries? Into that, I can tell you that product as Fresh is working very, very, very well, but have a lot of competencies. After you have product in different areas like consumables, chocolate, olive oil, a lot of them. So even winery is something that is growing very well in this part of the world. And you can say, oh my God, how that is possible? You need to know that the B2B industry in countries like Emirates is like 10 times bigger than the B2C. So I wanna say, if you have the capacity to start to export to in B2B hospitality, you can create a big solid business there, but you need to understand how you will do, what is your pricing positioning, what is your advantage. All the time, these kind of things must be taken in consideration. And not only thinking in these kind of categories like fresh, etc. You need to think in meat. You need to know that in countries like Emirates, 90% of the population is expatriate. So you have a big opportunity, but after into all the regulation that you will have, what will be that is a complexity point, what will be the certificated that you can use to guarantee that your product is organic, and what complexity you will have to go to Emirates versus if you go to Egypt or versus if you go to Saudi. That my point of view is the other two countries that is extremely interesting market. But into that, different complexity, different regulation. So you need to take care with all these kind of things. So to make sure the market is there, I can sharing with you some numbers. I was in 2020 in the food market, organic and nature in this region around 1 billion. The estimation until 2026 is to grow at more than 11%, to arrive in 2026 with more than 2 billion. So of course you can go, but you need to take care with all these things. And keep it in your mind that now in this part of the world, like the composition for the population is more Generation Z than in any other part of the world, and is much more oriented to sustainability, values, etc. Of course, all this kind of food is taken today like the medicine. The question some years ago was, we are what we eat. Today is much more than that, is we are what they eat. So if we can follow all the value chains through new technologies as blue chains, etc., to identify what product traceability is and why I need to pay $1 more for this kind of product versus the traditional agriculture, etc., this will be the great way. So if you want to go to invest, you need to create value for your product and choose very well in which area you will go. Another point, and I finish here, and I know my colleagues is waiting, is like even in product as beauty and cosmetic, is one market that is growing at more than 400%. So if you analyze other areas of the world as Taiwan, Singapore, etc., Korea is crazy, and that is coming. So my advice is to focalize well how to do. The market is there. Some niche of market, not only the partner that you will find as Magital Futain or Espinace or other partners to grow, thinking before what I need to do, what volumetries, how I will open the door, and how I will lend this market. And honestly, the complexity to create the product in ESMA or other institution in other part of the Middle East area, like Egypt or Saudi, is so hard. So try to learn, go before and discover the market, and after start to check your volumetries, and even start to discover many things through wholesale companies than today's platform that you have in internet is very interesting because the e-commerce channel is a good channel to testing all this kind of product, and the growth is crazy in e-commerce in this area of the world. So I just stop in here. After we will discuss more, but yes, you have a big capacity to go. It's many categories than is even at 300, 400% growth as beauty, as I mentioned, but you need to understand very well who you are, what you want to do, and how you will do. That is my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel, for that. I echo your thoughts when it comes to the demand for organic products here in the Middle East. But I have another question, and that's why do you think Spanish exporters are really going to succeed in MENA?
But you know, it's many points. But one of the points is like Spanish people. If you go on one study on who you are, now who we are is our culture, our subculture. But we have a past commune with Arabic cultures together in Spain. So even in our language, many of the words is same in Spanish or Arabic. The culture and how to celebrate and how the people love be together in around one table and have experience in testing, in quality, is crazy. So all this kind of thing is there. And even the Spanish product today is very well considered because the people love many of our products already. But in my humble point of view, many of the products that arrive today to Emirates is the worst one. The people have not the wonderful assortment portfolio than our people is making here. So, but you need to guarantee why I need to take this product there, because also, as you know perfectly, the government start to put some barriers because want to minimize the dependency for external agriculture through with all the consequences of the COVID-19. So if the people open the door, you need really to create value. And that is there. And another point that I want to share with you is in this part of the world, the obesity and the people that have, how to say, many sugar in his blood and all these kind of things, like glucose and all these kind of things, made them the people become much more aware than ever in the food as the preventive medicine. That is something that is coming. I think organic and natural product is very powerful point, but in pricing positioning, even in this part of the world, the people is very aware about the price. So if you go, you need to invest in your branding, who you are, why I need to spend 30% more in this specific organic tomato than the tomato that I can buy making the production locally. That is the kind of things that we need to do. That is how we need to communicate. The use of the blockchain as traceability, the point of how to create one master app for the product that is coming from this origin that will have real-time access to the customer comments, will change the mindset, will make that the price that I pay is at the level of the quality that I offer. So, of course, Spanish is one country that in all these countries love. We have a lot, one of the best products in the world, honestly, but we need to be much better organized in how we will do. Because in many cases, I can tell you my experience is many producers is going to Spain to sell his organic and natural product, but however, after 2 years are totally destroyed. The first thing, the people have no idea, this complexity, this bureaucracy, this difference between the different regions, even at supply chain level, sometimes have geopolitical tension versus Qatar, versus Emirates, versus Saudi. So all these kind of things make complex the market. Very interesting, but complex. So if the people thinking really very well, what I will do, what is my escandallo, I don't know this word in English, sorry, but what is the scale of prices when I start to identify the different price that made my final price to sell my product in UAE You need to be very clear for that, because after you go to retail companies as Carrefour, Espinet, Choitran, Lulu, whatever, and after you will discover that you need to pay at least 25% in fees, plus supply chain, plus the time that this come, plus the minimum volumetries that make profitable export the product there. So you need to very well understand how to do, and no move before to have a clear agreement with some partner. Then also, in my point of view, to have a local partners there is extremely important. So in all this that I mentioned before, Oriol, that in December will be in Dubai, this kind of wonderful opportunity to put in contact and create a solid networking between the locals and these Spanish suppliers, I think is fundamental. Without that, whatever is the right perception, whatever the people love the Spanish product will be very complicated for you, because to the end of the day, every partner want to win $1. So if my business is not profitable, I will spend time, I will spend money, and after I will fall. So you need to be ready in what you will find.
I think very, very interesting points there, Miguel, especially on the culture bit. I think, like you mentioned, there's a lot of similarity when it comes to culture, not just in the UAE, but across the Middle East. Also, I think very, very important to highlight what do you think are some of the key challenges that Spanish exporters are going to face while entering this market?
For me, the main challenge that I told you is the first thing is to find the right partner, okay? For me, then your business will be profitable and you have clear idea in which way you can go. After the point will be the complexity, I repeat, for the creation of your product and the negotiation with the different retailers. So you need to think how you will do all these kind of things. After, keep in mind that at a geopolitical level, the MOCAE, the Minister of Climate Change, etc., is looking for avoid the dependency for international suppliers and brand, more linked with the agriculture. And all of you know what is happening now, that the people start to produce in the middle of the desert, start to do production with tomato, follow some of the techniques that was applied before for the Chinese people. So the people even start to use the seawater for the production. The people go with hydroponic. All that is the consequence for avoid some dependency for international. But in organic, for be extremely transparent with you, will be very complicated to do organic product today into the UAE, because by definition, what is organic, you need to have one quality of the sand, you need to have one quality of the different product that you will cultivate. So I think will be complicated. That is a good opportunity for all this brand. So keep in consideration that. What is the market that I want to go? In this market segment, what will be my pricing positioning? According the partners that I choose, what will be the volumetries that make profitable my business? Another question, what is the right channel to go? Keep in mind, before, for example, simple way for the Spanish people, you understand what I try to say. Before the pandemic in Saudi, into the leader in the industry as Majid Al Futain, the sales that we do in e-commerce, okay, was below 5%. Only 2 years after, the total e-commerce food than we sold in this area of the world passed to more than 25% contribution in GMV. In Dubai, in 2 years past the 3%, then today is near to 10%. So if you choose also start to open this door for e-commerce, great. And not forget the B2B market, because the B2B market will guarantee you that with these volumetries, you can also to mitigate your fees cost and after start to win more money with the B2C. So all these kind of things that you need to understand. You need to choose very carefully who will be your partner. and understand what is the structure of negotiation for these people. I was in one side of the table, and today I'm in the other side of the table. So you need to be very careful. You need to really, in your contract, to take care what will be the minimum volumetries when you sign one contract with these kind of guys. So all these kind of things is what you need. And the most complicated is you need to be patient, because today, the way that you create your product, the regulation, the certification is different in UAE than in Qatar, than in Oman, than in Saudi, than in Egypt. In many cases, between UAE and Abu Dhabi, you need to create one additional. So it's complex, it's very complex. But if you go step by step, analyze the thing, follow the advice for people as Lander that is there for helping to these kind of suppliers, will be wonderful. But you need to really choose what will be my priority and why I want to go there. Another point is like, until now, is very few standalone shops with organic and nature. I think this can be one opportunity in this kind of market, not in all, but I think in areas as Dubai, Abu Dhabi, can be an interesting thing. Some people before try to do and close the stores, because in my point of view, the market, the assortment proposal, the pricing positioning, the communication and branding was not well done. But today, these people, the customer trend, so very clearly that these people is looking for this kind of solution. And as sustainability people, I can tell you my experience, is much more advanced in countries as Emirates than in many countries in Europe. The people will pay for that because it's much more young. So these young generations is looking for these values. I prefer to put my dollar in one thing than bring me one sense of satisfaction than a societal level. I take care for the next generations too. And even not thinking only in food, thinking in much more things. Today I start to be brands in fashion that is 100% dedicated to one organic and sustainable model. So it's a lot of areas that we can go, but in this direction. So for Maysort, keep in your mind two things. Assortment portfolio that you will go. What will be your partner? Very important. And what is the regulation according to the countries that I want to go? Because in some countries, you come one certification that is halal, and one certification in organic that comes from Europe, and one country say, yeah, that is the right one. Another tell you, no, that is not the right one. So all this must be very clear. And after investing, new technology in terms of traceability. That is key differentiation.
Thank you so much, Miguel, for those wonderful insights. I think you pretty much summed up the entire organic and natural scenario here in the Middle East, and you've given a very brief outlook of what it looks like for Spanish exporters in a nutshell. Thank you so much, Miguel, for that once again. I'd like to move on to Ibrahim, and I can see that he's waiting to share a few figures. Ibrahim, I'd like to ask you, what demand are we witnessing for organic and natural products? What do those figures say?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the demand for organic food is on the rise, especially that consumers are seeking out organic foods for environmental reasons, as well as health concerns. So as organic food contains no genetically modified organisms and has no pesticide and antibiotic exposure, also, the availability of organic food is increasing significantly as many companies roll out organic versions of traditional offerings to gain extra margins. Since organic products are still perceived as being a premium product. Also, higher prices continue to be like a barrier that hampers growth in some countries. So basically, organic packaged food is perceived as sustainable and is growing as the importance of environmental concerns is increasing. So organic food is expected to be key driver of the health and wellness market and to show the high growth over the forecast period. Moreover, the overarching trends towards healthy nutrition and sustainability are the main drivers for the growth in organic packaged food. So if we look at the household within the region, we will notice that mothers are becoming much more aware of the ingredients in different food items. And with this increased awareness comes demand for better quality, and in some cases, organic sources for the ingredients as well. So additionally, with the widespread of gyms in the region, the health mania is on the rise as youngsters aim to look and feel much more healthy, all of which drive traction of organic products on the shelves. And finally, the premium nature of organic appeals to companies seeking higher margins. Therefore, sales of organic packaged food are expected to rise sharply due to the increasing availability, including private label as well.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for that, Ibrahim. What demand are you? I mean, under which category do you think organic and natural is seeing most demand for?
So we can see that the growth is happening across different categories. So basically, organic baby food, for example, continues to grow rapidly. The safety factor has a particular importance in children's nutrition, as parents pay attention to providing high quality products and avoiding pesticides associated with negative health effects. So organic baby food is set to remain a dynamic category due to the entry of major baby food players. So the reasons behind this growth is that the parents perceive the organic baby food as being better for the child and makes the child feels healthier. So also consumers are increasingly seeking healthier snacking options. So snacks is one of the categories also that are growing in terms of organic snacks. So they're seeking healthier snacking options that allow guilt-free consumptions. So for example, PepsiCo and Mars are the main players for driving health and wellness confectionery. And finally, fresh vegetables and fruits are witnessing also a surge in the demand as well.
All right. Okay. Thanks for that. Very, very interesting to know and hear from you about organic baby food. I think mothers are definitely being increasingly more cautious about what they feed their baby. So that's very interesting to hear. Ibrahim, if you could let us know through which distribution channels do you see most organic and natural products being distributed in the region? Is it, I think Miguel mentioned e-commerce and standalone stores, but where do you see, what distribution channel do you think works best? Is it e-commerce? Is it retailers? Is it HoReCa? What do you think is working?
Yeah. So given that we have mentioned the key categories for organic food, we can say that the packaged food distribution happens across all forms of retail, modern, traditional, and e-commerce as well. So e-commerce sales were boosted in 2020 by COVID-19 lockdown, which accelerated the trend of switching to digital channels. So delivery services, subscription models, and web and social media purchases have gained further momentum as well, which has led to the arrival of new business models, commerce ecosystems, and emerging channels. Moreover, the growth in e-commerce resulted in a growing number of retailers focusing on the development of omni-channel retailing. So marketplaces are driving e-commerce sales as many brands turn to these platforms to reach the shoppers. Furthermore, organic packaged food has particularly benefited from the development of e-commerce. So if we look at the rapid digitalization in the last decade, it has played a key role in transforming how consumers relate to eating habits as a central aspect of their health and wellness state. Also, convenience and time saving are among the most important purchasing factors in food, so including healthy options as well. Today, for example, consumers want a meal plan personalized to their diet needs. Meal kit and subscription box providers are tapping into this demand and thus have a promising outlook. However, for the fresh organic products, consumers still prefer to buy their products physically, unless they are dealing with a trusted supplier like Gibson's in the UAE, for example, where they have formed a reputable name in the organic food avenue as well.
Awesome. All right. Ibrahim, my last question to you is, where do you see growth happening when it comes to organic and natural, and what's the future demand going to look like in the next few years for organic and natural products?
So if we look at the future of the demand for organic food and what will drive this demand, we will notice that consumers are increasingly interested in taking a holistic approach to improving their health. So consumers' awareness of the importance of gut health, sleep, mental health as key parts of a healthy lifestyle is growing. So health concerns is a key driver for the growth. Another aspect is premium positioning. So companies are entering the market in order to obtain higher margins related to health and wellness products positioned as premium. With more players entering the market, we expect this to become mass premium, which translates into more competitive prices and a wider variety of products as well. Also, the convenience trend. Consumers are increasingly seeking convenience and quick and healthy options. So this will drive health and wellness packaged sales, especially products in prepackaged portions or in snack form as well. Another factor is sustainability. Consumers increasingly examine the environmental footprint of products, which is driving growth in organic and naturally healthy food and eco-labels as well. So the climate crisis and animal welfare are topics of great importance for young consumers. Finally, digitalization. With consumers increasingly monitoring their health using apps, there is potential for personalized nutrition solutions and diets as well. Customization is likely to gain relevance in consumers' online shopping experience in the future.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Ibrahim, for those stats. I think it just reiterates the fact that what Miguel was referring to earlier as to the sheer demand there is, and at the same time how people are demanding these products in terms of in terms of whether it's e-commerce or whether it's ready to eat meal plans, so on and so forth. So thanks for that. I think we've had a wonderful first half. I think that brings us to the end. We'll be having a very, very short break for somewhere around 3 to 4 minutes to request all panelists to stay online. And I'm sure on the other side, we'll have Lander, who I'm pretty sure will take you through some of the key insights and who will also help us and give us a better understanding of what it looks like for organic and natural products in the UAE and beyond. So stick on with us, and I will look forward to seeing you all on the other side. Well, we're back. Thank you so much for staying on with us, and thank you so much for tuning in. I think we've had a wonderful first half with some brilliant insights shared by Miguel and Ibrahim. Thank you so much for that. Lander, I know that you have a very detailed presentation that you've prepared. Firstly, thank you so much for putting in all the efforts and taking the time for doing this for us and the audience. I truly appreciate it. I'm not going to waste any further time. I'm going to leave it all up to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's very important in terms of a visual presentation, just so the exporters have something obviously to look at while I speak, and just to have a better insight on, what are the complexities, what are the opportunities within the market. So let me just share the screen. Just if you can confirm once you can see the screen so I can carry on.
Yep, we can see your screen. Okay,
perfect. So again, as Miguel Angel has, brilliantly explained, I think that there's no such person, obviously Spanish person with as much experience as he has. So he's, the insights that he has provided are excellent for any kind of exporter in the food industry. In this case, we're obviously speaking about the organic products. Within the organic products, Spain has definitely have opportunities. There is a lot of opportunities. Our companies, my company is dedicated in aiding and helping these Spanish exporters to introduce the products into the Middle East. As a Spanish product, and obviously as a Spanish person, we believe that what differentiates our product is the quality, and obviously within a certain ratio, the price is also very important. So what are the opportunities in the Middle Eastern markets for Spanish products? I think we can definitely distinguish within 3 categories: fruits and vegetables, fresh food, and groceries, so packaged products. Fruits and vegetables, at the end of the day, Spain is the garden of Europe. So we're leaders in how we produce, what we produce, when we produce. The wide variety of products we have available throughout the year make us definitely market leaders in this category of products. And again, we distinguish our products by the quality and by the availability of these products. With having said that, we'll look at the intrinsic, the complexities of introducing these kind of products in a very competitive market. Within the fresh food category, also there's a lot of opportunities within the meat, poultry, and fish. However, as Miguel Angel has explained, there are certain regulation, documentations, and requirements that make it somewhat more complicated than exporting to any other countries within Europe. But there's definitely an opportunity. And within groceries, and definitely the one category that we've seen more growth on because of the wide range of possibilities, there are endless opportunities within this category product of packaged products. So what do Spanish exporters need to do before they actually adventure into this market? I think the first thing is to evaluate the competition. We have to definitely point out, we've heard it from Miguel Angel, we've heard it from Ibrahim. The UAE market is very focused on local production. There's been a very strong focus since the last 3-4 years to enforce that food security and make sure that there is no dependency on the level of exports and imports that there's always have been in this kind of market. So one of the biggest competitions nowadays is definitely the local production. However, we will see in the second part of this presentation that there is different things that we can do to avoid this competition. Another very strong competition is obviously Asian countries. China and India are very present in this market. There's a very high population from these countries. Therefore, we have to distinguish what kind of products, what category of products are within and are being supplied by these countries, and obviously try to avoid that kind of competition. And then third but not least, European players. Obviously, as neighbors, Germany, France, Italy, they are very strong within their product range, within how they market their products. So it's a very strong competition. And more, we have a tendency of seeing much more Eastern European countries that are being highly competitive, then their product is being more adapted to these kind of markets. Their logistics especially are growing, so they're able to reach further markets. So that's very important to distinguish. And a very important point within the competition is there will always be someone that's cheaper. It's standing out that makes the difference. We need to differentiate our products to actually make it work in a market that's hyper competitive like Middle East. So a key point is to choose the right distribution pathway. I think there's 3 clear points. One is obviously to value the competitive advantage. Again, differentiate your products from any other products that are already in the market. A key point is the relationships do matter. I think it's since the markets and the countries are not that extensive in terms of population, relationships do matter. So building the right relationships is essential in the Middle East. So Spanish exporters, they need to focus on building trust. And more than that is just long-lasting relationships. There's, in many cases, people think of the Middle East as, you know, a one-time shot where you're just going to earn a lot of money. But the reality is that you need to build the trust. You need to build that confidence. You have to build that relationship just to make it a long-lasting relationship. And obviously, third and most important, nobody can enter the market without actually knowing what's in the market. So they have to do their homework. Before entering the market, they need to understand the requirements. They need to understand, you know, what documents, what labeling, what kind of product categories they have to target. So that work has to be done. So again, I want to emphasize on building trust. I think that any business that you do, obviously, if there's there's trust involved, it makes it a lot easier. Transparency and communication, understanding what the necessities of the market is, and understanding what has to be done is very interesting. So you know, the exporters must be familiar with the local culture, with the language, or must have someone that gives them the guideline to understand that in order for the products to actually work. So I want to touch, and this is, you know, it's very basic. I could obviously have a whole presentation and we can go hours on what the distribution channels and what the opportunities are, but I just want to go through the basics of it. So we can clearly see a division. So there's retail, so you have the supermarkets, hypermarkets. Within the hypermarkets, there's a division between premium, A-class and B-class, and we need to understand what the segments are in order to be able to introduce each product and category correct. So we're talking about organic products. So we know that it's a high value product. We're not going to enter into a price battle. We're not going to enter into the cheap part of the market. So we need to focus on, you know, the premium and the A-class retailers that are going to have a dedicated area for these kind of products and are going to be able to be introduced and sold in the appropriate manner. After retail, supermarket, and hypermarkets, obviously, which is it's a major part of this market, we have the online stores. As both Ibrahim and Miguel have showed us and has given us the data, there's a huge tendency and a huge increase in online stores. And then after that, there's food service. I think that within this market, it's one of the market leaders worldwide in terms of the great variety of food service customers that can be there. So it's a very important segment of this market and the distribution channel because it can generate volumes. And then on the last but not least, obviously the wholesale markets. So within the retail, just for you exporters that are listening today, the retail industry and the supermarkets and hypermarkets, I want to distinguish, you know, one of the top players. I would, and this is something that within our company we've established to identify them. Within the premium supermarkets, we could differentiate, you know, Waitrose, Spinneys, and new players in the market like Grandiose and Giant, and we call them premium. Obviously, because of their pricing, they're definitely more expensive than other players in the market. But not only that, it's the look and feel of the shops. I think that this market is distinguished because they've gone a step further in making that shopping experience something different. So when customers walk into the shops, they have a different look and feel towards other retailers. And obviously, without taking importance, A-class, which is obviously still top players in the market, and definitely lead in terms of volume. So if you're actually looking for sales volume rather than high value added products and low volumes, you're looking at big players, and obviously one of the biggest players in the market, Carrefour, Lulu, and then you have Choice, and then very importantly the Union Coop, which is much more targeted to the local side of the population. Online stores are very important. So we've got Kipsons, which is a leading online store in the UAE. They were the pioneers within the market that gave in the fast delivery, same day delivery, no cost delivery, and they've taken a big market share in terms of online distribution. And then you've got the Q-commerce partners, big players, big companies that are slowly growing, and they're doing a very good service for the population within the UAE. We've got Talabat, we've got Noon, we've got Agroso, we've got InstaShop. These are Q-commerces that have their own shops within their applications, but they're rapidly growing and obviously offering a lot of services to the customers. So a very important point, and I think that this is something that exporters need to really think about, is choosing the right customer. So there's two ways, right? I spoke about the distribution channels. If you want to go into retail, there are capabilities if you're going direct. So there's always the thought of, do I go direct or do I go through a local distributor? The answer is, it's a complicated answer, obviously, and it's very hard to choose from, but it depends what market segment and how much percentage of the market you want to target. If you want to go direct to a retail, you're only going to be able to go direct to that retail. If you want to take the whole market, you're going to have to go through a local distribution channel. So you're going to have a very strong partnership with a distributor within the region that's going to be able to cater all the retailers, all the distribution channels within the country. And I think a key point is the trust and transparency, because there's a lot of issues when exporters don't know the necessity, they don't know the investments. Miguel Angel was saying, be very careful when you sign contracts, how you sign contracts, make sure that you know the volumes that are that are being requested, make sure that that you know the investment that has to be done in order for your product to succeed, because at the end of the day, it's a hyper competitive market. So we're talking about a country where a set of countries that are extremely open to imports. That means that there is a huge competitiveness. There's 90%, 80% of all the products that are within the region are imported. Therefore, each different culture has their own set of products. Therefore, there is a massification of products within the shelf. Therefore, you have to invest in your own product in order to make it work. And that's something that the local distributor, the exporters, they need to know before they enter the market. And one of the key things is, hold on, here you go. So one of the key things is the warehousing and tips for product registration and warehousing on the Spanish products. So export requirements and documentation are very important. In many cases, people think that's going to be easy. In many cases, companies are exporting products without knowing these requirements, and these products are being held up in customs, and they have to sadly be sent back to their own country. So exporters it's a must to understand the requirements of documentation certifications in order to enter these countries. Warehousing and distribution arrangement, the distance between Spain and the Middle East and custom clearance process needs a very well organized supply chain. If you're not prepared in terms of logistics, it's very hard to enter successfully into a market like this. So Spanish exporters, they can maximize their export success by finding a reliable distribution partner and target their market and setting up their own, or they can set up their own warehouse facilities. And again, competitive pricing. We can see within the years, we can see that pricing is something that's very important, that within, the inflation period, within all the rising prices, we've seen retailers, huge discount retailers, we're seeing that people are more accustomed to have promotions. So again, pricing is very important. Although we're talking about a segment of the market which is basically niche because it's organic, even like with a section of product like that, price has to be fair and has to be competitive against other suppliers. So a very important part is the documentation and label specifications within the market. When you're exporting to another market, you have to know the complexities of it. You need to know the requirements, and these requirements, it complicates because it varies depending on product. So a fresh product will have a different requirement, a packaged product will have a different requirement, anything that has animal protein has another requirement. So we have to understand what documentation and certification requirements are needed to enter the market. For labeling, again, you need to understand that the market will not adapt to your product. Your product needs to adapt to the market. Therefore, labeling, obviously, the first language in Middle Eastern countries is English. That's the fact. Everybody speaks English. So if you have a product that's not packaged in English, it's very hard for it to sell. So first of all, it's adaptation of the packaging, and then the actual legal requirements, customer requirements of having an Arabic and minimum English translation or Arabic translation within the packaging. Here we have examples of what documents and label requirements are needed in this specific market. So this is, and I want to focus on this, it's except fruits and vegetables. Why? Because fruits and vegetables are a very important part of the market. Therefore, the entrance to these kind of markets has to be easier for these kind of products. When we're looking at packaged products, health certificate, it's a mandatory to exit Spain and to enter the market. Halal certification, anything that has meat, poultry, has to be halal certified. If it's not halal certified, it will not be able to enter the market. And especially for countries like the UAE, it not only has to be halal, it has to be GSO halal. So you're going a step further on certifications, will obviously cost you money. There's an investment involved. So you have to be careful with that. And then there's certain regulations and requests. One is the famous Texgan request, which is a request in order to be able to get a veterinary certificate. All the products that have animal ingredients have to have this certification. Therefore, the exporters need to understand how to process this certification. And then obviously labeling. Labeling, as I said, in our opinion, in the experience that we have, do not export anything that is not packaged in English. For labeling and requirements, there's obviously a legal and in customs, there's a minimum regulation that you have to have, and that is your product and the name description has to be in English and in Arabic. Ingredients have to be translated both in English and Arabic. Country of origin, and I've mentioned this because, especially coming from Spain, in many cases, Spanish exporters in their products, they don't actually put that it's made in Spain. They mention in what community, in what province it's made, but the reality is that when it gets to the UAE, nobody knows what Valencia is, unfortunately. Us as Spanish citizens, we obviously know that, but it has to have the made in Spain, so it's able to enter the market. And I've actually put this in bold because double dating is a thing that out of Europe is not normally seen. So again, exporters have to adapt their own product to this kind of market, and double dating is something that sometimes for the production lines, it makes it kind of complicated, because in Europe, we just have to have a lot number and an expiry date, whereas in markets like Middle East, expiry date and production date is necessary to enter the market. And then last but not least, obviously the weight and net content have to obviously be in English and Arabic. So, you know, make it happen. We have to make it happen. What are the key steps to making an export happen within Middle East? You have to research the market, you know, start by identifying the demand and the competition level of your products in the target market, establish local presence. That's definitely something that is capable in a country where foreign companies can enter the market easily. So establishing a local presence is also a key advantage in order to control the market and to control the full supply chain from production to sales. Forge partnerships if you're not able to enter the market, or if you're entering the market and you want to have, you know, good partnerships, good sales, successful story, you have to collaborate either with local partners or to increase your business community networking in order to enter the market. And a very important point is to have an efficient supply chain. At the end of the day, us, for example, as an exporting company in Spain, 60% of our costs are the cost of logistics. Therefore, you have to have a very efficient supply chain in order to price your product correctly and be able to be competitive. So again, there is opportunities. I think that in summary, we have to stand out that a market like the Middle East, there definitely are opportunities. There's a segment for organic products. There's more demand for organic products than other markets, but there are barriers. There are complexities to enter these markets. We have to understand what these complexities are. We have to adapt to these complexities, and we have to be able to withstand the complexities to be able to enter the market. And then exporters need to understand, need to do their homework to understand if their product can be successful, and they obviously have to try for it. So number one, find a trustworthy and long-lasting partnership. Understand the advantage of the product. We can't only look at, you know, what our product is doing, but how it is advantageous against the huge competitiveness within the market. Make sure that the product complies with local regulations and be competitive in pricing. Choose the right distribution channel, and last, invest in marketing. Again, it's a hyper-competitive market. You have to stand out your product in order to make it work. So there has to be an investment. There needs to be a clear communication between the end channel and the manufacturing to understand how a product can be successful. And obviously, if you need more information, I'll be happy to give more information about how it's done and how you can succeed. And you can contact us anytime.
Awesome. Lander, firstly, thank you so much for that very, very detailed presentation. I'm pretty sure the exporters who are watching us live would definitely have lots to learn, and I'm sure they'll be taking notes. I think the part where you were explaining about certification and is very important, because we have a lot of exhibitors and clients asking us multiple times on certification. So thanks for that. I think that sort of more or less answers all of the questions. But we have a few more questions here coming in from some of the audience. And I think, Miguel, I'm going to come to you with this because I think you'll be the only person, the best person to answer this question. The question is, what are your thoughts on organic and natural skincare and cosmetics? What sort of demand do you think there is in this part of the world?
I will answer your question in some seconds. So the first thing I want to congratulate to Lander for the presentation. I think it's very concrete and the summary is very well done. So for my part, guys, Suraj, if you want, I was creating a link with this panel. 360 project, what is the environment, what is the pestle analyze, what is the SUD, what is the 5P plans for Spanish companies that want to export there, what is the the main authorities that is making the regulation in the different areas of the world and all that, and even if some of them need some contact for these potential partners that Lander highlight very well. In Magital Food and Carrefour, in Espinace, or in Choitrans, or in Giant, I can provide even the contact people that is the responsible for merchandising these companies to help to go. So if you want, I can send with you that for you sending with you networking, and I will put in my LinkedIn profile. I will do one post with all this information because as Spanish people, I want to really help to the Spanish companies. So now I come back to your question about the beauty and skincare. Guys, that is the future. It's so simple like that. If you start to check in all the social network sites, even then also I working and making one master in artificial intelligence linked with digital in Chicago University at this time. With all the GPTs and all this kind of information, whatever you cross today and you go deeply, all the natural and organic in skincare, in all this kind of product, not in food, is the future. It's coming for there. So I start to come many things that the fluor is not good for you, that is not good for you, it's better than go like that. I can tell you that my 10 years experience in Middle East, the people that consume early morning turmeric and this kind of superfood product to avoid potential issues, a health level in the future is crazy. So I can tell you, all this kind of product was growing at more than 400%. At the level that when I was driving the operation and merchandising in Magital Food and Carrefour in all these countries, in the countries and stores, that is very important what Lander mentioned before. What is your customer profile? What is the right location for this kind of product? I can tell you that in some of these stores, like Mall of the Emirates, we create into the store a shopping shop where all the organic products are together, because also in the customer lifestyle, and that Ibrahim mentioned before, and customer behavior in the way to shopping is looking for buy all the organic and natural product in only one location. Even if you go to the hypermarket, you can do double implementation in some category product, but when you have all together, I can tell you that the experience, end-to-end experience for the customer is better, and the growth is much better. When we start to create this kind of shopping shop, the way for organic and nature into this company was less than 1%. When I leave the company 2 years ago, was already in these stores 10%, with one global contribution more than 5%. Into the beauty and health is one of the best growth in shampoo, in skincare, all that, guys, is a wonderful need, but you need to explain, because the point here is not the pricing positioning, it's your quality price and traceability for explain this Spain origin that is a additional value for the final customer, because the people thinking Spanish high quality. Okay, you need, as Lander saw, this kind of labeling, how you create this information, this additional, then I pay $1 more for that. Because one thing that is crazy is the people is thinking, no, how I will saving in my average basket when I go to one hypermarket, supermarket, online, whatever. But guys, the point that you cannot saving is in health. If organic and natural product today have a statistic evidence that made that your health will be better, we need to communicate that. The point is, it's very bad communicate all that. So I think the presentation for Lander plus what I spoke, then I will send you, if you want to send it with everybody, I think will give you a very precise list of steps than what you need to do. Another in the industry, to choose very well your partner to go is very important. In Lander today with his company, I speak Lander because I know he personally, and is a wonderful professional. Can helping you to do, even if you need to pay one additional for that, go guys, because you're saving much more, because the major mistake that you can try to do is go for yourself without the knowledge. How you choose the right partner, because even in what Lander you showed to the audience about the main e-commerce players today, it's very different. Go to Gibson or go with other. So you need to know in which channel I will be and how I will do. So all these kind of things is extremely important. So yes, in this concrete question, I told you, of course, all that is related with beauty, with health, and more will be the future. But I can tell you, even in some of the shops, today linked with the sustainability and societal responsibility that was mentioned before for Ibrahim, in some of the most, how to say, iconic store that we have, like Mall of the Emirates, we create like shampoo, then you go, you take the product with your own packaging that you can take and go, and you put there. And after the people take you the price for this specific shampoo packaging. So all the key brands is pay for this like crazy. It's totally true what Ibrahim mentioned before. All that is linked with the babies is key, but not only the babies, also for the most oldest people. All this kind of food as preventive medicine is future there, sure.
All right, Miguel, thank you so much for that. I think I echo your thoughts again when it comes to skincare and cosmetics. I think the region has one of the biggest, the highest per capita spends, UAE and Saudi Arabia. So no surprises there, especially looking at the demand for some of these products here. Lander, I'm going to come back to you, and we have someone from the audience who's interested in exporting seafood from Spain here into the Middle East, and he's asking for some expert insights and what are your thoughts on exporting seafood here into the Middle East from Spain?
Okay, so when you think about seafood, you need to think about what kind of seafood you're talking about, and most importantly, the mode of transport. If you're looking at something that's frozen, it will be more competitive. So you're looking at something that's price driven. If you're looking something that's fresh, it's definitely quality, but you'll have to control your logistics. If you have your logistic control, you'll have a great possibility of success within the product. However, within the fish products, within the seafood products, we need to understand that it's very cultural based. So again, adapt the product to the market. It's what has to be done. You can't adapt the market to your product. So there are opportunities for sure. We need to distinguish what kind of product it is, within which distribution channel it has its opportunities, and then attack that distribution channel, attack those necessities, and create opportunities within the possibilities that there are.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for that, Lander. I think one of the biggest categories that we see here at the show is it's plant-based food products. We see that there's a lot of demand, not just from not just from the buyers, but we see a lot of exhibitors as well. If you could share, I think both Miguel and Lander, on your thoughts on what the scope is for vegan and plant-based products here in the Middle East. What do you think? Where are we headed with that? Okay,
if you don't mind, Miguel, I'll go first. I think that it's definitely a product category which has huge growth. It has huge potential. However, we've seen that the actual growth and the actual success of these kind of products are more based on the marketing that they can have. Again, if we're linking vegan products, plant-based products to actual health products, there is a difference within a brand. So we need to carefully identify which ones. And for me, in a nutshell, the more marketing there is behind these kind of products, the more success you will have. And if you want to sell successfully, make sure that the product, it's adapted to the customer base, and it actually promotes health rather than just having something that's within the segment that is cheaper. That's just in my opinion, obviously.
All right. Thanks for that. Miguel, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I 100% align with Lander. I think one of the key parts is to really, in this kind of product, to invest in branding and in positioning a pricing level. And when I say no in the low level, I want to say pricing positioning. What is the competency that you have? What is the gap of the market that you have for you? But I don't want to forget that another categories that have a big potential growth in this area is all that is linked with Spanish cheese. Is something that in this part of the world, the people love it. And we have something wonderful, guys. So not forget the cheese category. I think is very, very powerful. And that is the place in the world with India for spices and herbs. So even in spices and herbs is a big, big, big market to go. Chocolate, tea, coffees, all this kind of thing is a big, big potential too. I don't want to forget that.
Awesome. All right. I think that's we're coming to the end of this particular session, where I think we're almost running out of time as well. But I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us this afternoon. Despite your busy schedules, thank you so much for joining in, sharing your valuable insights, knowledge with us. I'm sure that some of these Spanish exporters and some of the people who joined in live had lots to learn from this particular session. And I'm sure some of them will probably get in touch with you as well. So thanks again. Oriol, any final thoughts?
Really inspiring. I mean, it's huge opportunities in the market. We have best products in the world in lots of categories. We gotta go for it. And I really like a lot all the data that you presented, because it gives like a sort of a guided tour of what you don't have to do, what you really have not to do, and what are like the good steps for approaching to the market. I think I'm not an expert on the market, but following everything that you presented and being an expert in Europe, I think that's important to take into account the data, where the growth is, the beauty segment, what Miguel Angel commented, it's amazing. So I understand it's very important to seize the opportunity and go with the right partner. This would be, after hearing you guys, my best conclusions. And then, of course, to think properly before every step, but not lose time, because it's every moment is other actors that might be coming into the market, no?
Great. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Oriol. Miguel, Lander, Ibrahim, thank you so much once again for joining us this afternoon. And I wish you all, I'd also like to thank the audience for tuning in and for joining us. I'm sure once again, you've had a lot to learn, and I look forward to meeting each one of you hopefully soon. And I can't wait to hear some of your export success stories. So yeah, thank you so much, panelists. I will look forward to meeting you all very soon in person, hopefully in Dubai, in later this year.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Lander. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Oriol.